and welcome to the Mind Body podcast. And I'm your host, Devi Sundar, a mind body consultant. I'm glad you're here. Today, in this episode, we are going to explore the deep connection between mindset, well being, and how we show up in the world. Not what we do, but how we feel in our everyday lives. In today's episode, Style Meets Soul, dressing for confidence, clarity, and calm. A conversation I've been really looking forward to because it touches on something very personal, yet so universal, how the way we dress can actually support how we feel inside ourselves every day. Now, I've never been someone who have been drawn to big, loud fashion statements. I always like myself in a simple, calm, and elegant pieces. But even with that, I've come to understand that clothes carry energy, and the way we get dressed in the morning sets the tone of entire day. Part of this comes from how I was raised. I grew up watching my mother and grandmother treating dressing not just as a routine but as a ritual. They were both incredibly intentional in how they cared for themselves. No matter the season, they would be up at 5:30 a.m., taking time for their hygiene and grooming, and then getting dressed with such an elegance. My mother, who was a manager in the transport department, wore beautiful Indian saris that radiated that grace and authority. And my grandmother, who was a stay-at-home presence, dressed so thoughtfully that she was ready to welcome a gift or a guest at any moment. That quiet dignity in how they showed up for themselves had shaped up how I see personal style today. It made me realize that what we wear is more than just a fabric. It can be a reflection of how much we value ourselves. So today, I'm thrilled to be joined by someone who lives and teaches this idea. Our guest today is Sara, a personal style expert, wardrobe coach, dressmaker, and a founder of MYVOS. She's known for empowering women to feel amazing in their clothes through innovative systems like level dressing and the 15 item and 100 fit outfit formula. And she's also author of Second Skin, How to Manage Your Clothes and Be Stylish for a Lifetime, and a regular voice on the BBC radio. So Sarah's work is about much more than what we wear. It's about how to be at home in your body and align with who you truly are right now. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. It's such a joy to have you on this Mind Body podcast. I'm really looking forward to our conversation today, where we are going to explore a bit of which we all do every day. We get dressed. And in those everyday moments, the fabric we reach for, or the colors we are drawn to, and how the clothes itself fits us, actually. It all tells about like how we show up ourselves in the world, isn't it? It's more than dressing, and it sets the tone of our confidence and how clear we are and how calm we are actually conveying our energy to the world. So Sarah, so that brings me to you now. I would to begin. I would like to hear a bit of your transformational journey, how you got into this personal styling, wardrobe dressing, and more than that, you do more a lot of things. I would like to hear from that experience, what you've given, contributed to society.
Well, hi, and thank you for having me here on the podcast. I think my personal experience, and I know that it's like there's always that question: was there a particular moment or something that happened that makes you sort of think, okay, how did you get into this? Is there a defining moment? And if I think back, then this is something which was, what I wear and how I help people dress. It was something which is integral and instilled in me right from as long as I can remember. I was brought up in a household where when you were upstairs, you wore your going to bed clothes, and to come downstairs, you had to get dressed. And it was quite strict. My mum really didn't like us sort of like slobbing around the house in our pajamas when it was daytime and we should be doing daytime things. If we were poorly, we were allowed to keep our pajamas on. That was a treat. But from a really young age, it was quite it was in our household, we had to be dressed and presentable, just be in front of the family to be presentable. And on top of that, my mum was a big lady. She was obese, and I think she used clothes to cover up her body, but
Mhm.
instead of trying to sort of hide her body, she wore nice clothes that she made herself. And
Mhm.
she was known where her friends would come round to borrow clothes from her. And if friends borrowed clothes, she would never take them back. She thought, well, once someone else has had them, she would consider them then secondhand, which is really quite ironic because I am really, really into pre-loved clothes because I think there's enough in the world. But as I grew up, we weren't allowed to have anything secondhand. It was normal to have the sewing machine on the dining room table. My mum made most of her clothes. She made my older sister's clothes, which she would then tweak before they became hand-me-downs to me. So they still felt new again and hadn't been, they weren't worn in that style. So it's something that I grew up with, thinking it was normal that clothes would, cover your body if you didn't like it. Clothes were how you presented yourself to the world. You had to present yourself even just coming down the stairs. And I just loved it. And there was another moment where one of my friends, who was quite a big lady, because they used to come and borrow her clothes, and we used to call her Big Diane, because she had a couple of friends called Diane. So this was Big Diane. And I remember, I must have only been 5 or 6, because I was patting her leg, and I could just, like, her skirt was fabric, was sort of wafting against her leg, and then she was holding a cup of tea, and she looked down and she said, oh, hello. And I said, and we used to call her Big Diane, and she didn't mind. I went, Big Diane, why doesn't your top match your skirt? And of course, I was just shooed away as a cheeky child, but it's something which I can't remember a time not thinking that clothes are important and that I can see outfits going together. And I was conscious and interested in looking at what people wore. I could remember what they were wearing rather than their name.
Wow, that's interesting. So you actually, your memory stored people's identity based on their clothes rather than their
Yeah.
names. Interesting, interesting. And so that brings me to your thoughts on what style meets soul, because the podcast is about, we are talking about style meets soul, and it's very well actually wrapped around. You've actually given such a good intro of how you actually towards the clothes, getting into this dimension of wardrobe, designer, and personal styling and other things. So, what does style meet soul to you then?
It's simple. It literally is a second chance at being content with who you are. That is exactly what it means to me. It's, you're born into your own skin, what you're given by nature. And then style is your second skin that you can just, adorn, shape, choose whatever fabric, just choose how it fits, choose how it feels. And so, don't waste that chance, don't angst over it, don't fear it, don't avoid it, just embrace that we have got a second chance to put a second skin on to enhance our natural skin. That is what style meets soul to me.
Wow, such a loud message. Simple and loud. It's what style me soul is what is content with yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way you dress to be content with yourself. And that's your book as well, isn't it? I've introduced in the intro of the podcast your book, The Second Skin, and the interesting book. How, and I believe so you've given a lot of wisdom into that book about to people about how the style can meet the soul, can fit this podcast as well to promote your book, Thick and Skin. Yeah, interesting. So now we're going to move on to the next question. So, Sarah, I have to confess, I'm not a bold fashion statement. Okay, I always lean towards the simple, elegant clothes. I don't want this flashy, trendy. I'm not that person. Okay, I like the clothes which is makes me feel like comfortable, simple, and presentable. Okay, that's what my view of, because it makes me feel more inside calmer, so that I can be projecting myself with confidence to people what I'm actually talking to or exploring with people. That brings me to you, actually. You talk beautifully about the style, the connection, and very loud message. The style meets soul. It's to be content with who you are. So, can you talk about then the mental and emotional well-being, how the dressing, how we dress, that impacts our mental and emotional well-being?
You look fabulous to me. You look presentable. Are you comfortable? And if they're comfortable, that's all you need. You're not dressing for somebody else. Dressing well and taking this advantage of your second skin, which I talk about, doesn't mean, oh, you have to wear something bright. I never wear bright colors. I love navy. Navy is my favorite color. And so it doesn't mean you have to wear something where someone goes, wow, look at you, because they can see your clothes before you. That's what makes you comfortable. Do it. It means something different to everybody. And the two things, comfortable, presentable, that goes without saying, that is what everybody wants. And I must point out that with this, what does it mean to the mind? Your mind is part of your body. You can't separate the two. And you're putting clothes on your body. It's if you want to leave the privacy of your own home, it's a legal requirement that you need to get dressed. You have to put something on. So it's all about having that choice. And this is where the mind comes in, because sometimes it's the choice which is the problem. If you don't have a limitation, it's a little bit like, when you're at school, if you have a school uniform, your choice is limited. It's much easier to get dressed. It's much quicker to get dressed. So sometimes it's not it's knowing what your limits are in the parameters of accepting what phase of life you're in and what you're dressing for in that phase of life and how you want to feel in that phase of life. Sometimes you might think, actually, I don't want to be invisible anymore. So I do want to wear a brighter color. I do want to wear something I haven't worn before. So if I bump into somebody, they can, they will have that, oh, because they're not used to seeing you in that. Or you might want to just always wear the same so that you never get a reaction from anyone. You're predictable. So this mind and body can't be separated. But what it is, it's visual. We can see. And sometimes when people try to hide and they say, I don't care about fashion. Well, nobody cares about fashion. Fashion's selling clothes. That's different to feeling good. But when you sort of have this thing where I don't care, and so you might just grab something that's stretchy and shapeless, and you think that you can hide, and it's not showing off anything about what's underneath or how you're feeling, you're actually giving a bit more away, because it's like, oh, when you do sort of wear things which you think are invisible, it's telling the world that, oh, I think you're having a bad day today. You're dressing like how you dress when you don't feel very well. When you don't feel well and you're like, have a day off work and you stay home, you do just want to be comfortable and in something that makes you feel sort of secure and snug. And when you start wearing something that represents that when you're out, it tells the world more than if you did put something a bit loud and out of character on. So it's quite interesting how your mind is stronger than your body. And if you let your mind, sort of take over how you dress, you can give off all the wrong messages, or you get used to it. And that's why I get clients and I have a job, because people are, you have to get dressed. Like I said, it's a legal requirement if you want to leave the privacy of your own home, and you get stuck in a rut because you have to wear something, and then years later there'll be a trigger. You'll catch yourself, in a reflection of a mirror, or you will bump into somebody you haven't seen before, and you see them first, and if they look good compared to how you feel, it makes you feel bad. So, and that's when the trigger is, and you think, right, I've got to do something about this. But what is it? I'm so used to how I'm dressing. I'm so used to thinking clothes are just for comfort and function. It doesn't matter. I don't follow fashion. Who cares? It's nothing about following fashion. It's your mind, and your mind will dress you and present to the world exactly how you're feeling, whether you want it to or not.
Okay, and so I picked up a lot of things what you said there in relation to the mind, body, and how you're impacting others' emotion as well for this question. So you mentioned that if you're dressing up to a certain degree to get your identity proved to other people, is that what I'm understanding? So when you say that you're dressing up there, and then you're also thinking of how it's going to impact other people, of how they remember you. Is that what
Well, they
you're?
do. When people see, the first impressions is what people see. And it's also how you're carrying yourself. If you're wearing something because you've just thrown it on or you're used to it, and deep down you know that you could wear something better or something that fits better, or you're just wearing it because you're used to, because whatever's happening in life, it's just not a priority, or you feel you haven't got time, or you haven't got the effort to put in. So you go into autopilot with what you're wearing. That can what happened to people. And it's when there will be a trigger where somebody you haven't seen for a long time and you look at them, or it's the other way around. You may be on top of your style. You may be 100% comfortable, which I hope you are, with what you're wearing. And then you'll see somebody you haven't seen for a while, and their instant reaction is, oh, you look good. And you just, and you feel great. It works two ways. You, people can see, what you wear is a visual representation of how you're feeling.
Yeah, that brings me to another question related to this one. When you say that you have a space for people you've not seen for quite a time, and they see you after a while, and they actually might be shocked if you have changed or grown out of shape, or in the shape in either way, like whether you put on weight or reduce weight, and you would have changed your style and other things, and how you dress up is going to present them again a different version of you, which might be put on a lot of questions in interaction. Am I right? Would you agree that?
Yes, absolutely. It's a two-way thing. You can't, we people who, think it doesn't matter, or, your style is just style, and that's something for other people. Or, or it may be your thing is we're all on a different level. And also sort of during your life, there'll be times where it's more important. There may be times where, when you want to make a good impression, you may have a new job, you may have a relocation, you might have a new partner in your life, you might have a new phase, you might have become a mum, or you might your children may have flown the nest, and so then there's different phases in life. And at those times is when you think about, oh, what am I going to put on? Because it's your clothes are your closest possessions, literally. It's what it's what you own, is what you care for. Everybody has a collection of clothes, and everybody has a choice with what they wear. And it really is, it affects everybody differently. I mean, I know this because I work with women. I only work with people who have been through lots of stages of, okay, and I'm not happy with, for some reason, they're not happy with their current collection of clothes. And it's quite hard to sort of put the finger on it, because it's like, well, if I've got loads of clothes, so it's not a case of I need to go and buy any more. I don't seem to have the right clothes. Now, it's easy to sort of say, right, those don't fit me, that's that, but these do. But then what are they saying about me? And there's also, if you've had clothes for quite a long time, they're anchoring you in the past. It's like, oh, what phase are you in? And you're like, yes, they served you well. And yes, they're gorgeous clothes. And yes, it doesn't mean you don't have to, still love them, but they're not serving you now. And so it really is this whole mind, well-being, confidence to be able to align what you're currently wearing with your current life, your phase of life, what you're doing in your life. And it's, if you don't stay on top of it, that alignment can slide, and then it seems like a much harder job to get that back aligned. And so that is where this sort of mind body sort of experience links with what you're wearing.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for that. And that links into my next question in terms of dressing with intention. Yeah,
Mhm.
and you also point out something about the ritual and other things. So dressing with intention again to create that confidence and clarity to be projected. And you might go through different phases. As women's, we go through different phases, and I'm not partial biased towards men. Men's also go through different phases anyway. But as women, we go through different phases. I mean, styling and fashion or advert related to that, we actually the advert projects the women more so than hardly we see the men's in the advert of the fashion or the style. So as over years, I come to realize that personally and also in conversation with many women, like the way we dress, the we have a close emotional connection with our
Mm.
dressing to how we feel and about our body image, yeah, because
Mm.
that is both tied to, especially in women's. That's my perception and experience of that. So how would you, initially also in your intro, actually, you pointed out that your mother was actually big and she had
Mhm.
clothing, and you have observed the styling part from her,
Mm.
how she
Yeah.
actually projected herself. So it might be very welcome response from you. Like, how would you support people who have issues with body image? Yeah. And how, because that's going to impact their mental health as well. Like
Mm.
each time you're going and opening up your wardrobe, okay, I now actually have a different size of my body, and the clothes which I loved to wear before is there right in front of me, but I can't wear. This kind of
Mhm.
feeling of shame, or I should not wear, I'm not allowed to wear this. Yeah.
Mhm.
How would you help those people with your personal style and wardrobe dress work?
Well, first of all, you used a word there before. So this is how I used to dress before. I've got those, you you rarely bring garments and clothes into your life that you can't wear.
Hmm.
It's you may have some heirloom pieces that you inherited, and so you're expecting them not to fit or, not be right for you. But things your day-to-day dressing is what you wear. And then when your body shape changes, and it will. So this is regardless of putting on weight or losing weight, with gravity and just life doesn't stay still, you can be the same weight, but for a woman, your bust will drop and probably become a little bit bigger. Your waist may add an inch to it. Your bum may become flatter and lower, and you've got a different shape. You can't go back to what you used to be. And also, you want to keep moving forward because your life has moved forward. You're not the same as you were before when you wore that, but it doesn't mean that that wasn't good for you then. What's happening is when you in your wardrobe, when you've got things, oh, I used to wear that, I want to wear that. Why aren't you wearing things now which you feel the same? They don't have to be the same. You need to move them out. So this is how I work with a client. I have to start in their wardrobe, in their personal space.
Hmm.
And because I don't even then have to ask any intrusive personal questions or try and do a questionnaire where they've got to pick out an answer or an answer that they think is going to please me because then I'm in this situation because they've got a professional in, what am I expecting them to answer? So I eliminate all of that by going to their wardrobe, and it's very quick to see exactly what you're saying. People have clothes in their wardrobe that they used to wear. The reason they haven't moved them out of their wardrobe is because they love those clothes. It could be the memory that they bring. It could have been, you know, luck that they were bought when they wore those items, who they were dating, where they were living, what job they were doing, all sorts of things. And because they love the fabric and the look of it. And part of that may be because they preferred their figure then than what they do now. But you've still got that memory. If that item doesn't serve you now and make you feel good because it's making you feel depressed because you're going, oh, look what I used to do. Oh, then take it out of your wardrobe. So that's how I work with people. I'm only interested in what they can say, yes, I can put this on today and I love it. It makes me feel good. And if you don't have, and people do, they go, oh, I don't like anything in my wardrobe. So then I'll go, okay, let's just pretend you haven't got anything. They'd be like, oh, but I want that. You do have a connection. But because, like I said, clothes are your most personal possession, you can't see it yourself. So when I come along and people go, oh my word, I've just got all these amazing clothes and I haven't even bought anything new. How did you do that? It's just a fresh pair of eyes. I don't know the history. I don't know the price. I don't know how long you've had it. I don't know why you bought it, how it came into your life, what you've worn it for, because we categorize our clothes as well. The amount of dresses that people have in their wardrobe and go, oh, I'd love to wear that, but I wore it when I went to my friend's wedding. I can't possibly wear it again as I go to a wedding. Oh, the next wedding is there's people, same friends there. I can't wear it again. And it's like, well, why can't you wear that dress this weekend? You've got nothing to wear, which is why you're panicking and you've got me in because you're meeting up with some girlfriends, having lunch, going shopping, and you're just sick of wearing your jeans. Wear that dress. And they go, can I? I'm like, yeah. It's it's just a dress, you know. It became a wedding dress because you had your hair and your makeup and your jewelry and your shoes and your handbag and you were with your partner who was then wearing a suit and that was a scenario. Whereas you can take that same dress and you can put it with your sneakers and a casual jacket and a large day tote bag and and have your hair down and maybe some chunky dress jewelry rather than, and so you can all have the same things. And so when I'm with a client, anything that they used to have that's making them depressed because they feel that's something they can't have now, I just move it on, don't talk about it. I just, and I do say to them, take it out of your wardrobe. You haven't got to get it out of your life. If you love it that much and you need it in your life, fold it nicely, put it in a plastic container, put it in your loft or somewhere else, or, you know, under the bed in those vacuum packs. I mean, people don't. They say, oh, yeah. And a couple of weeks later, they go, oh, do you know what? I gave it with a charity shop. Oh, that was so nice. I sold it on Vinted. So now, I might let someone else enjoy it. You've had your enjoyment out of it.
Mm.
Key is to be brave enough and confident enough to move on those pieces out. Then you can see what is working for you now. And if that isn't your style, because you think, hang on a minute, what's working for me now and what I'm wearing isn't like what I love because I don't have that neckline. I don't have that trim on it that made me love it. I've gone down a level. I've taken off all the detail on the bit that made that personal to me, that was my style. But you can't see that in what you're wearing now if you've kept your old things in the wardrobe. So it's all about having the bravery to accept that life moves forward. And something else as well that I'd like to mention, when people do sort of say, do you know what? Yeah, I'm never going to be able to wear that again. I can still love it and have the memories, but I'm going to move it on and let someone else enjoy it. And then what you do is you go, oh, I wish I had that top. I wish I had that skirt. And it's easy to say that when it's not there anymore. Because when it was there, you didn't wear it because for some reason you've associated it with something else or it doesn't fit you anymore, or you feel that it makes you look dated because that was your old look, not you now. So it's easy to think that something that you've moved on, that you've been keeping on, thinking you're going to squeeze back into it, or you think it's going to be right, it's easy to go, it would have been perfect because it's not here anymore. So, but enjoy those memories. Go, oh, do you remember that I had and when I wore that, that was amazing. And then you just try and get that same feeling again, but with something else that you can bring into your wardrobe.
Great, great. And I can understand from the work what you do. Like you've touched on a point, like keep moving on. Yeah, once you all had the enjoyment out of that dress, yes, now it doesn't fit, and be practical, and you can enjoy the new version or trendy version which can fit you. That's good. And earlier I mentioned about the body image and other things. As a sex therapist, I also meet people with body image issues, which cause a lot of anxiety and
Mhm.
depression for them. And so I'm thinking of referring them, suggesting you to make a change in their lives
Yeah.
if they would like to.
So the first chapter in my book is called You Laid Bare, because without your body, you haven't got anything to clothe. There is no style to put on. It starts with you. So you need to feel the best you can about yourself. That doesn't mean that you've got to sort of like, depending on where you're at and where you are with your body confidence, it doesn't mean you've got to be 100% I love my body, but you need to be in a place where you need to be accepting your body and say, well, this is me now. Even if you've got an intention to change, or if you've had an illness or a health issue where it's out of your control what your body is doing, you cannot change that in 5 minutes, but you can get dressed in 5 minutes. This is why I call it your second skin, and why I say don't avoid it, don't fear it, don't angst it, but embrace the opportunity that something in your body isn't what you want it to be, and you don't have the control today, right now, to change that. And it may never change in the near future, but you still have to get dressed, and you can still put something on as your second skin to go, I now feel better than what I did before I got dressed. So that's what you're looking to do, not to go, oh look, now I feel, you know, brilliant. Nothing could make me feel better. What you want your clothes to do is go, this is not how I want to be. This is not my body. Something's happened in my life. But I can open my wardrobe. Just by opening your wardrobe door, you want to go, brilliant. Already my mood is elevated because I can do something about it. I can put my second skin on. And then when you do reach for your clothes and you put them on, you need to then have that elevation, and you can. You're choosing what you're putting on, and if you don't want your body shape to show, then you just choose clothes, choose a silhouette that you like, that the clothes will make.
Mm.
There's lots of things you can do, but do not dress the bit that is your worst bit, because then it attracts attention to it. So the worst thing that people think of, which is a little tip when you're not happy with your body when you get dressed, is look in a full-length mirror. Nobody wants a full-length mirror if they're not happy, but when you can see a silhouette, and particularly, if you've got sort of dresses, what's the hemline doing? And then never look straight, on square in the mirror. No one sees you from head to toe square on. You're moving a bit, and so when you look in the mirror, walk towards the mirror, turn, walk back, watch the fabric move. And if you've got something, you can walk down I mean, I wear long dresses an awful lot, and the comments that I get is like, oh, I saw you walking across. No one, I don't have the best figure. I've
Mhm.
got a good figure, but not the best figure. No one ever mentions my figure ever. They mention the clothes. Oh, I like that. It's look at how the fabric moves. Do a sleeve. Cuffs and necklines are amazing if you want to take attention away from anything that's going on in the torso. So you can be really, really clever and go, okay, I don't like this part of my body, can't control it, but your wrists, your neckline, you can do, and there's lots of things you can do for that.
Well, that's a lovely practical tip, actually, having that silhouette mirror rather than a full mirror, and then focusing on your whatever the dress you're wearing rather than the body shape or anything. That's really a good advice, actually.
Same color, top and bottom, and then and just focus on sleeves and hemlines, and you walk towards the mirror, have a look and walk back. So keep moving and seeing how the shape of the clothes. So you're taking the focus off your body and it's going onto the clothes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what I advise.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you for that advice. And for people again, coming back to that issue of body mesh issues and
Mhm.
where this style meets soul fits in,
Mhm.
more so. Again, people have different phases in their lives. Like their styling ideas can change depending on the career, depending
Mhm.
on the place where they live. For example, in my case, I was born and brought up in India, and at 24 years, I moved to Dublin. So that's when my style totally changed. Although like I started to wear trendy clothes in my university and in back home then, but I was actually more focused into styles and not. As I mentioned, not a bold fashion statement, but a stylish, a trendy, current fashion, like, for example, even wearing a jeans for your daily routine. That was not there when I was back then in my hometown. So it was a different costume, but again, trendy costume according to the cultural wear. So when you talk
Mhm.
about the cultural wears and trendy, so your work and fashion is offering to different cultures, or do you actually restrict your work to certain cultural works or?
Absolutely not. It makes no difference what your culture is, what your role in life is, what your job is. It makes no difference. I've got an interest in people feeling the best they can. And you talk about a fashion statement where you go, oh, I'm in the clothes, but I didn't have anything bold. A fashion statement doesn't need to be bold. People can look amazing and like understatedly eye-catching when they dress the silhouette and their confidence. So standing up to your posture will speak more than your clothes. And so if you've got a good posture, everything hangs well. If you've got a good fabric, it hangs, and that's when we can, it's all about the silhouette and how it moves. As soon as we're thinking, oh no, and we just start to sort of round, we make ourselves want to feel a bit invisible because we're not happy with our body, everything looks worse. And you can have the most basic thing on, and your posture and head up can go, oh, you look good. And it then isn't actually then about the clothes, because it's how once you feel good, you can carry a lot more off without going, oh, it needs to be about the clothes. It's not, it's about you.
Okay, so what I get from what you're saying is like it's not about the dress, it's about how you show up in the world.
Yes, it's how you present the outfit you put together that is appropriate for you, that you feel your best in.
So, Sarah, so far you've actually, from the wisdom you're given to us today in the show, I can see that it touches one point that we have to unlearn certain limiting beliefs or ideas what we have related to the wardrobes, like we should not wear this or we are not allowed to wear that. For our audience who is listening, nodding and listening to this podcast and at the same time watching, for someone who's actually watching this YouTube, what advice would you give them to unlearn that pattern of limiting beliefs, and then they can actually go and face their wardrobe with confidence every day?
Well, who says you can't wear what you want to wear? Who are you answering to? That's my advice to people. They go, oh, I can't. I say straight back to clients, go, oh, I can't wear that. And I'll say, what, why? And it's like nobody else is telling that person, you cannot wear that. You can put on whatever you want. So it's like, okay, so why? So I just say, why can't you wear it? It's in your wardrobe. You want to wear it, or else it wouldn't be here. Or if you don't want to wear it, let's just move it out and let's focus on what you are going to wear so that you can feel confident and dress with ease every day. And it's just something that people get over quite quickly. They just need somebody else there to say why. And then they suddenly realize, well, I haven't got a reason. They go, I just thought. And I'll say, you thought what? And they go, well, and then they sort of think, actually, I don't know. I don't know why I can't wear it. So sometimes it's just that little push from someone. And I'd also want to explain something else that has happened. This is the first time in history that women, I'm a middle-aged woman, where we can't look ahead and we don't dress like our mothers. Times has changed so quickly that we haven't got any information from anywhere else to see how we should be dressing. So this is what's happened in a number of things. We've also got clothes have never been so cheap and available as they are now. We've got access to so much. It hasn't made it easier, by the way, because again, it means there's no limits. So when the choice is down to us and it's our responsibility, we get stuck and then we tend to go what we think is playing safe. And then we go, oh, actually, I don't like what I'm wearing, or look what I used to wear. And you sort of feel that you feel you're a bit boring and samey and go, well, I shouldn't be wearing this. We haven't got anyone to look to. We've got the rules have all changed. And just something like piercings and tattoos, like when just 20 years ago, I wouldn't have had a tattoo because I would have thought that might prevent me getting a job that I want in the future.
Mm. Mm.
Whereas there's nothing like that anymore. And so it's we now have the freedom to choose, and it is accepted that we can wear what we like when we like. And it's our responsibility. Now, of course, in the workplace, there are policies, but I've been looking at some of the dress code policies, and they're actually to try and interpret them, it still uses the same words. Oh, look presentable, look appropriate. But that's what we're unsure of. This is exactly what's happening now. People are unsure of what is appropriate. Like we've been saying, people have got dresses in their wardrobe. They want to wear them, but they think it's not appropriate because they link it to a wedding rather than a I'm popping into town today. I think a lot of the problem has arisen because we don't have any boundaries or we don't have any rules to follow. The responsibility is on ourselves. And so then if we get it wrong, then we feel bad and it all comes back to confidence again. It's like, you may just be going out with a group of friends and you think, oh, do I wear my jeans? Do I not? Am I going to be overdressed? People worry about being overdressed. But then if they turn out and everyone is except them, then they worry that they're underdressed. And so you just have this, oh, what you're going to wear. But you need to dress for yourself because because I'm really, really into, style and clothes, I always overdress. I don't feel overdressed. I feel comfortable. Like that's how I want to dress. But what that has done is when I meet my friends, they go, oh, Sarah's coming, it means they know that they can grab a dress they want to wear, they can grab some jewelry they want to wear, they can grab some heels they want to wear because they're not going to feel the one person that's turned up overdressed because they know that I'm in the group. And it literally raises the bar for everyone. It's like you don't have to dress like that. And it doesn't mean that everyone has to then dress up because they see me. But it does, people want to have a boundary and they want an excuse to dress in their best clothes. No one ever comes to me and says, I'd really like to dress a bit more casual, a bit more understated. That doesn't happen. It's all that, am I presentable enough? Where is the bar of too much? And the too much is usually too formal. It's not dress up or dress down. It's that level of formality or casualness. And even if you are casual, you can still have a polished casual that looks really presentable. So it's getting that balance.
Okay, thank you for that. So, what I hear from you saying that your perception of limiting belief is not there. So, from psychology point
No.
of view, our mind is a limiting belief. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
when you see one dress is very good in a certain occasion, the other dress is not good for that certain
Mm.
occasion, that is a limiting belief anyway.
Yes.
So when you come to a body image issue, which I see a lot of people in my psychology,
Mm.
like
Yeah.
lots of limited belief, as I spoken earlier in this podcast, and it's good that your message comes through to me. Like you need to embrace the body as it is and
Mm.
accept yourself, and
Mm.
try to choose your dresses which you believe will be respectful in the environment where you're going to be presented.
Mm. Mm.
That's is that I'm
Yeah.
putting it right in that in a more.
Yes, it's just I think we've made everything more elaborate than what it is. We just to simplify everything. It's like where there's occasions, like if you're going to, a funeral, a wedding, a place of worship, that these are the type of places where there are some respectful rules. And when you go to these places, you're going there for a reason. And it's a bit like this is in my book. I call it in your tribe, and there's always a chief in a tribe. So if it was a wedding day, the person who's getting married will send the invite and give you the dress code, and you respectfully follow that. If you're going to, a funeral, that, the person who's invited to that funeral, they will say, we want to celebrate and wear color, or you don't, the people, and you follow that. And then, but when you haven't got anything, it can then become guesswork, and then it's just your responsibility. So you need to be able to know how to dress yourself confidently for any occasion. When you think about a whole outfit, you very rarely have what I call a one and done. So
Mm.
even if you have a dress, you may have an accessories, a bag, you've got at least shoes with it. Normally, like in the UK, you then need something to an extra layer if you're sort of stepping out. So already we've got three pieces because you've got shoes, the dress or jumpsuit, and a layer to put over the top, and then usually a bag as well. If you've got a top and a bottom, you've got more than one piece. So we can often select pieces which the person already owned and is comfortable wearing, but to make that outfit onto the next level, or maybe eliminate part of the outfit which is causing the problem that's making somebody not feel confident, you're just bringing in or adding one or two pieces. So you're mixing and matching pieces with what the best of what you've already got to bring in the next level of new with what you have. If it's all completely new and completely different, you'll have a different problem because you'll think, oh, it's not me. Will I have to explain myself if I bump into someone? When I turn up somewhere, I'm going to have a comment, because comments can really knock people's confidence, even if it's a compliment. The fact that somebody has said something about what you're wearing, someone that might not usually mention what you're wearing, you can then just start getting these things, oh, is it right what I'm wearing? So it's taking the best of what you already have currently and then adding one or two pieces to gradually make that change, and then moving out the bits that you know aren't going to work for you, so they're not holding you back or making you think about the past. It's got to be what's coming next to feel good.
Okay, that's a good piece of advice, and this has sort of actually calmed down some of our audience about their frustration when they open up the wardrobe and say, like, is that wardrobe even makes me feel who I am? And that's a good piece of
Mm.
advice. Like, you are going to sort that out for them, and good
Yes.
advice as well. And
Yes,
tell me
yes, I
about
do. I do what I refer to it as a quick fire round, because I need to ascertain information quite quickly so that I can then start putting into place what is going to help a person. So I take everything out of the wardrobe piece by piece, and I just ask the client, is this a 10 out of 10? Lots of people have got 7 and 8s out of 10. If it's not 10 out of 10, I put it in a different pile. Now, people get a bit sort of like, oh, that means that's going to go. And then I have to reassure and go, I'm in your house in front of your wardrobe. I'm not taking anything out. I'm just finding out your top 10% of what makes you feel good right now. And there is always some pieces that make you feel good. And then from that, we create outfits, and then I make a shop. If I need to, I'll make a shopping list of, actually, we need to add this piece or that piece or a longer outer layer, or this will work and you need something underneath, but the layering you're using is showing and looks functional, whereas we can swap that for something of a different color to make it look like part of the outfit. It's all the little details around the edges. I mean, if you look on things like Pinterest, or you look at style bloggers and influencers, it's the detail. So it could just be a simple, plain,
yeah, yeah.
loose fitting top, but it could just be a little detail of a little button on a cuff and then an earring that's of a
I love
similar
that style
length.
actually. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's good. In terms of like your work towards the community, do you offer only to the people in UK, or is it something that you offer internationally, any consultancy or for your personal styling and advice? You can tell us now so that people can hear you and reach
Yes,
you.
I can work with anyone, so I can do things online.
Okay.
The only thing I can't do online is a color consultation. Now we do see color consultations online, but for me, I don't think that's a true. That just gives you a brief sort of an idea. So my color consultations, I do need to see people in person using natural daylight. But everything can be done online. If you can take your laptop, your camera to your wardrobe, I can still do the quick fire rounds and let you know where to put things. I do have a 15 items to 100 and plus outfits. So that's a very, very useful way to start off because wardrobes get quite full. And so if you can just pick out 15 pieces, the formula does do the, 4 tops, 4 bottoms, 4 layers. It gives you an idea of what those pieces are, bags, coats, and then it shows how you can mix and match to make over 100 different outfits with just 15 pieces. So
Okay.
if you feel like you're starting from scratch because your wardrobe's so overwhelming, my advice would be do the 10 out of 10. You may start off and go, everything's a 9 out of 10 or everything's a 7 out of 10. Do it until you've got all the way through your wardrobe because you might think, well, I'm going to have nothing less, I'm going to have nothing left. Or you might not be honest and you might go, oh, because I wear that a lot, you start thinking thoughts like, well, I can't do without that because I wear it so much. But is it 10 out of 10? It might not be. You're just used to wearing it. So that's the only difference with me doing something with someone than them doing the detox themselves, is that it's so hard to be objective yourself because and even things, if someone's got something which was expensive or gifted from a loved one, they feel it has to be part of the collection. They know they're not going to wear it. And it's, or if it is something that they go, I have to wear this to make somebody else happy, I'll be okay, we'll put that to the side, but we will create your outfits that make you feel amazing. And then, depending what that piece is, if it's a top, we can look at your outfits and go, well, actually, if we switched out that top for the one that your loved one gave you you want to wear, that actually would make an outfit in your style. So it's much harder. Single garments on their own are much harder to work with than complete outfits because once you've got your formula of what outfit for your aligns with your lifestyle right now, you can then switch out one piece at a time to keep developing it.
Great, great. So I think people can get a lot of value out of you by changing their wardrobe and empowering their mental well-being as well at the same time.
Mm.
Thank you so much, Sarah, for this honest and hard
Yeah.
conversation today. And finally, as we are coming up to the wrap up, yeah, that's what I was about to say.
So
Show the book.
everything that I've spoken about is my whole process is in this book,
Okay.
and it ends with what I call the wardrobe evolution cycle. So each chapter starts off with you laid bare. So it talks about if you need to be as comfortable as you can be with the body you have now, not the one you're going to have in the future, not the one you used to have, but the one that you have now. And your second skin is your chance to, if your body doesn't feel right, something has happened, try and embrace that you can improve it. Even if it's just by 10%, that's still an improvement. I think if we try and go, if we try and sort of put a grade and sort of go, oh, I'm just not feeling good today, I only feel 30%.
Hmm.
Don't expect them to feel 100%. Go, I feel 30%, but when I get dressed, you know what? I'm going to feel 45%. And that, if you can have that, that's the mindset that I try and work with my clients with. And then it's a very easy read. It's not in depth. And it does I have worked with 5 other people who are therapists. So if you really can't get over the being able to look in the mirror and try and look at the silhouette and look at the clothes rather than your body. I did work with some people that do some online offerings and some in-person offerings about body confidence as well. So that's right in the beginning, and then it goes through the process of looking at your inspiration, aligning with your life, what I call level dressing, so that you can wear a really good piece that you like, whether you want to wear it in the day, in the evening, whether you want to layer it up for different seasons and different occasions, but it's a good piece that makes you feel good. It's just the accessories around it which can change, and it's all in the book.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you for letting us know. I've already introduced earlier in the intro of the podcast about your book, and it's good
Mhm.
to see on the screen your book so that people can identify, oh, that's a pink book and Second Skin. Yeah, great. And where can people find you?
They can find me on my website, which is MYVOS, which is an acronym of My Very Own Stylist.
Oh,
So,
that's good. I'll put that link into the description box of the podcast so that people can reach out to you. And do you have any restrictions, like certain days only you allocate for consultation, or do you offer any kind of freebies to people, or no?
yes, I do. So the 15 items to 100 outfits, that's a freebie. There's a link on my website or all my socials, then you can have a link, and that is a freebie. I also offer a free 20-minute consultation, which you just ask me for. So you can just DM me, just go through any of my links, and I just send you the calendar link. And so then you can book that in for whenever you like. So that's for one-to-one clients. That's what I do. I always have a just so that we can. I want to clarify what somebody wants to achieve. And so it just takes a sort of 15, 20 minutes call to say, well, why do you feel you need, someone to help? Where are you at? Because everyone has a starting point. It's a journey. It's a bit like a garden. I always sort of think sort of getting dressed. It's never finished, your wardrobe. If you don't keep nurturing it, it then just becomes old and wilted. And then it's a bigger job to then landscape it again. So it's always just to find that starting point, and I'm only taking you on to your next level so it still feels like you. It's giving you that confidence, and then that level may change really quickly because your confidence will grow. But always remember that this is your close, or your second chance to give you the confidence that you naturally might not be feeling.
Wow, that's an interesting analogy. The garden and the wardrobe.
Yeah.
That's so good. So thank you again, Sarah, for taking this time. One final mantra regarding style meets soul. What would you say to people?
Um, I just use your second chance to be more content with your life. Just do not see getting dressed as an angst, as a fear, as a oh no, what am I going to wear? Oh, it's not going to look good. Change it around into that positive. This is your way of adding joy.
Great, thank you, so much, and I hope that audience have received some value from your wisdom on the style meets soul, and they will be reaching out to you to get your support in refining or for a clean out of the wardrobe, whatever they are up to. And it's a pleasure having you on my podcast. And have a good day.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Mind Body Podcast Style Me Soul. I hope this conversation have given you some inspiration and even a permission to rethink that your wardrobe is not just a collection of clothes, but as an extension of self-care, confidence, and your identity. Huge thanks to Sarah Cross for joining us and sharing her wisdom on this special topic, how style can truly meet soul. If you'd like to connect with Sarah, learn more about her work, or deep dive into the meaningful dressing, be sure to check out the links in the description box below. And if this episode resonated with you, please take a moment to subscribe and leave a review and share it with someone who might be standing in front of their closet, needing that bit of clarity and confidence. Until next time, remember how you dress isn't about impressing the world, it's about honoring who you are every day. I will meet you with another inspiring topic and an inspiring guest in our next episode. Stay tuned. Signing off, Devi Sundar.